All right, we're going to be looking at intercepts for quadratics. So we have a parabola. We have a standard form down here. And a few things about it. If your a value is greater than 0, then your parabola will open up like you see on the right, and the vertex will be the minimum value. If the a value is less than 0, then it's going to open down, and its vertex will be the maximum value. Parabolas have symmetry. That means the left and right side are identical to each other. Therefore, you have an axis of symmetry passing straight through the middle, going through the x-coordinate of the vertex. And the c value in standard form is our y-intercept. So some things about the IB exam, some terminology that will kind of come up in this chapter. If they ever ask you to draw is very specific. It means you want to draw a scale, so your x and y, you want to mark all your values on your scale for your xy axis. You want to label all your coordinates. You want to have your axes should be labeled as well. Details are important. A sketch just wants the general shape and any key features like x-intercepts, y-intercepts, vertex, those types of things. So let's go ahead and start with problem 1. It says find the y-intercept. All right, so all y-intercepts have 0 for x because they're on the y-axis. And so we can just take the problem and we can plug in 0 to all the x's to find the y-intercept. So we'll get 0, 0, and then 5. And so y is 5. For b, same idea. All of our y-intercepts have x as 0, so we just replace the x's with zeros. So we'll have 3 and -6, that's -18. And we've got our y-intercept. For x-intercepts, all of our x-intercepts have a y value of 0, and we want to find the x value. So I would make this y a 0, but I'll write it like this. And then zero product property says, I said each factor equal to 0. And then I solve. So 3 equals 0 doesn't make any sense, so that's useless to us. You add the 4 over, so x is equal to 4, minus the 2 over, x equals -2. So our x-intercepts are 4, 0, -2, 0. Same idea with the one on the right. Our x-intercepts have y values that are 0. So I'll make that y into a 0. So I will write it out. Zero product property, set them each equal to 0 and solve. So I will add the 5 over, divide by 3. For the next one, minus the 3 over, divide by 2. So we have 5 over 3, 0, and -3 over 2, 0. They also want us to find the x-intercepts here, but this is not in factored form. This is in standard form, so I'll need to factor to find those x-intercepts. So I'm going to set up my problem. So it's x squared plus 3x minus 40 equals 0. Then I'm going to go ahead and set up the factoring using my box. And the a term goes here, the c term goes here, the b term goes over here, and then a times c goes over here. So our a term is x squared, c term is -40, b term is 3x, and so x squared times -40 is -40x squared. And then I need to figure out a combination of numbers that would multiply to make the -40, but add or subtract to make the 3. So 8x times -5x gets me -40x squared, and 8x take away 5x is 3x. So now I have the correct combination. I can go ahead and get the outside. I know that x times x makes x squared. X times negative 5 makes negative 5x. X times 8 makes negative 8x. And 8 times negative 5 makes the negative 40. So my factors are x plus 8 and x minus 5 equals 0. Zero product property, set them equal to 0, and solve. So I minus the 8 over, add the 5 over. So my x-intercepts are negative 8, 0, and 5, 0. Okay, part B, same idea, but this time you'll notice that the terms are not all on the same side of the equal sign. So I need to move them to the same side. So I'm going to minus the 1 over. So my quadratic looks like this. All right, and so now I can go ahead and set up for factoring. Once again, the A term will go here. The C term goes here. The B term is out here. And then I multiply the 21x squared and the negative 1 together to get negative 21x squared. Now I got to figure out two numbers that multiply to be the negative 21x squared, but could add or subtract to make the 4x. That would be 7x and negative 3x. They multiply to make negative 21x squared. And if I combine them, I get 4x. So 7x times 3x makes the 21x squared. 3x times negative 1 makes negative 3x. 7x times 1 makes 7x. And 1 times negative 1 makes the negative 1x. So now I have 3x plus 1, 7x minus 1 equals 0. Zero product property. Solve it out, minus the 1 over. Divide by 3. For the next one, add the 1 over. Divide by 7. And so I will have negative 1/3, 0, and 1 over 7, 0 for my x-intercepts. Continuing with this idea, you can just move everything to one side so we can factor and solve. Once again, we're going to set up the box. 2x squared goes here. Negative 24 goes there. 13x here. 2x squared times negative 24 is negative 48x squared. Two numbers that would multiply to be negative 48x squared, but combines to be 13. This is going to be 16x and negative 3x. That multiplies to make negative 48x squared, and if I combine them, I get 13x. Oops. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 8 is 16x. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So we have x plus 8. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Zero product property. Solve, minus the 8 over. Add the 3 over. Divide by 2. And so we have negative 8, 0, and 3 over 2, 0. All right. For our last two here, I'm going to add the 8 over. Once again, everything needs to be on the same side so we can factor. My pen. Now this one I noticed I have a 4, a 12, and an 8. They have a number in common. They have a 4 in common, so I'm going to factor it out. And then I can go ahead and factor what's inside the parentheses. That way the numbers are smaller and it's easier to work with. So I got to find a combination of numbers that multiply to be 2x squared, but if I added or subtracted, made 3x. So 2x times 1x multiplies to make 2x squared. 2x plus 1x is 3x. So x times x is x squared. X times 1 is 1x. X times 2 is 2x. And so x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, minus the 2 over, minus the 1 over. So I have my two x-intercepts, -2, 0, and -1, 0. The last one, we have x squared minus 81. This is a difference of squares. So the difference of squares has two sets of parentheses, one with a plus, one with a minus. If you square root the x squared, you get x, which is what you'd get here. If you square root the 81, you get 9, which is what you get there. So it's equal to 0, and then 0 product property. Oops. Minus the 9 over. Add the 9 over. So your x-intercepts are -9, 0, and 9, 0.